Our Kayla Hounsel was also out in St. John's all day reporting on the storm, in the middle of the storm, until this happened. You can hear how strong the winds are, blowing snow, making it impossible to speak or really do much of anything outside. Kayla took that video in front of her hotel before she had to head inside for her own safety. And that's where she is right now. And Kayla, describe for us what it was like as the storm was reaching that point where you were taking the video.
Yeah, Ian, when that state of emergency went into effect, we had actually been reporting from just outside these doors here, and even that became just too much. It really was just too difficult to speak. That wind, which is still raging outside, rattling the windows here in the hotel tonight, was just so intense. It was taking my breath away and just whipping that snow right into my face. And then on top of that, the snow was coming down so fast and so heavy, it was actually filling my eyelashes, if you can imagine, and forcing my eyes shut.
So you're from Newfoundland, you've withstood some pretty big storms. What stands out about this one to you?
Well, I actually grew up in central Newfoundland, which typically gets quite a bit more snow than here on the Avalon Peninsula. I've also been a reporter in Nova Scotia for more than a decade, and I have never seen anything that even remotely compares to this, Ian. It's that combination of high wind and heavy snow. And you know, Newfoundlanders don't shy away from storms very easily. I always say if they say it's a bad storm, it's a bad storm, and it's clear they're taking this one pretty seriously, Ian.
No kidding. Thank you very much, Kayla.
You bet.
Now, before the storm intensified, some Newfoundlanders did brave the conditions to see for themselves just how bad it was out there, and they shared their stories with us.
This is outside our shed. We have a lot of snow, so that light, that's our back door to get in our house, but not really accessible at this moment.
As Newfoundlanders, we're definitely very used to having our fair shares of storms, but nothing quite like this where the snow is falling at such high rates. It kind of has a similar feeling to when Hurricane Igor hit us back in 2010 with the strong winds and rain that came with that. However, the roads were open then, whereas right now the roads are closed. It's really not a good scene right now here in the Avalon.
Can't even see our neighbor's house, our cars, or anything, even the trees.
Anything like this before.
Our windows are just covered with snow, some of them topped over with the snow.
So far today, we've had to shovel our doors out 4 times to make sure that we don't get fully snowed in. I can't see anything. I can't see across the street. Both of my cars are completely snowed in at this point. There's nothing out there except wind and snow, and it's kind of scary.
We all came in the shed as we have a fire in, so if the power does go, we can stay in here and stay nice and warm and cook our food on the stove. This is probably the worst I've seen here, but we're making the best of it.
Now, part of the challenge of cleaning up all that snow, and that's still to come, is how much was on the ground before the blizzard even began. The city of St. John says more than 170 centimeters of snow had already fallen this winter. 42 centimeters were still hanging around. That means there could be nearly 120 centimeters or 4 feet of snow on the ground by the time this blizzard finally lets up. Well, let's bring in Ashley Brauweiler, our meteorologist with CBC Newfoundland and Labrador. A wild day, and this storm is going to continue for hours yet.
It absolutely is. We're in the thick of things right now, Ian. We're looking at winds in excess of 160 kilometers per hour. Overnight tonight and heading into the first half of tomorrow, those gusts are still going to be strong, anywhere from 100 to, again, 160 kilometers per hour. Certainly not out of the question. And, you know, we're looking at a lot of snow as well, upwards of 75. Not out of the question to see any more than that. 80, 90 centimeters is certainly possible, but of course with these winds, it'll be almost impossible to verify those numbers.
75 centimeters of snow, that's about 2.5 feet. That is extraordinary by any Canadian standard. Add the wind, and it's really hard for a lot of us to relate to that. By Newfoundland standards, how rare is this?
Yeah, and Newfoundland and Labrador is some of the wildest weather that Canada has to offer, that's for sure. The last time that we saw something like this, the snowfall amounts was in 1999. That was in April. Keep in mind, there was no snow on the ground at that point. There was about 40 centimeters on the ground when this storm initially hit. So, you know, I'm seeing reports on Twitter and on social media that this is a storm that Newfoundlanders will never forget.
All right, well, the rest of Canada thinking about Newfoundland tonight for sure. Ashley Brauweiler, our meteorologist there. Thank you.
Thank you.